Now, today on Arise 360, we're joined by two remarkable storytellers whose work spans food, culture, design, and the very essence of human connection. First is Chef Eros, the culinary entrepreneur bringing the soul of West African flavors to a global audience, from his early ventures in Nigeria to opening an Ile private dining room and Ile Bistro in Los Angeles, of course, catering at Coachella and collaborating with brands like Nike, Disney, and the NBA. Chef Eros has become a true cultural force, recently launching his global Taste of Culture tour and signing with United Talent Agency. Alongside him is American photographer and creative director Reed Davis, whose decade-long journey across Africa has produced The Textures of Humanity, a stunning exhibition and book happening at Ana House, Lagos this year. His work, also featured in Vogue, in GQ, Martha Stewart Living, and more, captures the beauty of everyday life, ancestral memory, and the evolving identity of the continent. Of course, this is through a refined visual language shaped by natural light and texture. Together, the two artists are exploring culture, storytelling, and the threads that bind us through flavor, the other through imagery, and we are thrilled to have the both of them here with us in the studio. When I found out that I was talking to Toby, I said, no, I have to make sure I roll out the red carpet, because when I think creative arts, whether it's in photography or whether it's in food, you are both giants of your industry. So thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. First off, let's talk about this book,
Sure.
Textures of Humanity. As soon as you placed it on the table, I was like, I want one. It's even before we came on, I was talking about, growing up and as a child, kind of experiencing like photo albums. But because everybody has one of these days, it's easy to just take a picture and you don't look back. What was it about the Textures of Humanity that made you think, I have to capture it in a book?
Well, I really wanted the physical documentation of it. I wanted to have something that people could share and look at and talk about. It's great sharing things online, but exactly like how you said, when it stays in your phone, it kind of stays in your phone, and it doesn't become a real physical object. And that was something in the part of artistry, wanting to bring this to life and have it be something physical people can touch, see, talk about, and share,
Yeah. And Tolu, talk to me. How did photography and food meet? How did this collaboration happen? Talk to me about that.
Before we even talk about how the collaboration happened, let's really talk about the fact that everyone eats with their eyes first, right? And you go to a restaurant, you sit down, the first thing if the food looks good, the first thing you want to do is take a picture. I met Reed about 7 years ago at Ile Eros, a restaurant in Lekki. And from the moment we met, we kind of just struck this like great friendship. We stayed in touch over the years, and we actually worked on a project together earlier this year where we traveled to Ondo and we explored
I think I remember seeing that on your story. I was like, what are they doing?
Yes.
Okay.
So we shot a documentary actually where we captured, we went on a quest for heritage cuisine. I wanted to learn more about the food that we grew up eating that I wasn't really privy to anymore, or things that we all know amala, we all know abula, seafood okra, but there are things out there that we don't know at all, and I wanted to go out and explore, a lot of those dishes, and Reed himself wanted to travel alongside and explore, I guess, the textures of humanity, to see to take pictures of, what we see, to also taste the food, even though he does have a dietary restriction, makes it quite interesting to navigate as well. But it's actually been so much fun working with him and creating the dinner last week that, gave us a taste of the textures of humanity, going from, freedom all the way down to, what's the last one again?
Wasn't it change?
Change.
Yes.
Yeah, change.
Movement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it, because I'm guessing, obviously from the work that you both do and just listening to you now, you are both storytellers. That one is a fact.
Yeah.
So obviously one through food, one through imagery. What does storytelling mean to you, and how do you translate culture into your work? Reed.
It's interesting because storytelling, I think, is an important part of today in recognizing small bits of history, small bits of things that are going on in the moment now. And I look at it a lot in documenting so that there's a place marker in time to say this is when this was, this is when this happened. And I think in, culturally, my travels here, which the book is about my 10 years going across different places in Africa, it was the small things that I was finding culturally like very interesting and beautiful along the way that I wanted to document, that felt very special and felt very important to me here. So the book is a collection of those images and those things that I first saw.
Yeah. And Tolu, I want you to answer that, but add on, like just as an add-on to your answer, I want you to talk to me about what role you think West African culture, more importantly Nigerian culture, is playing in shaping this global creativity that we're seeing such a push for right now.
I mean, first of all, just from a taste profile, right? Everyone talks about jollof rice. Jollof rice is our pride possession, right? And West Africa in itself is, Nigeria in itself is the giant of Africa. And just from the detail in our flavor, to the sound of our music, to the colors and textures of our fabric, there's just so much brilliance and so much beauty and so much essence and passion in who we are as a people and how we share our story within all the different languages and all the different drums that we play, down to the different cuisines and food from different regions. It's just such a rich, diverse culture and one that really should be celebrated.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I find too that it's like in that culture, every time coming over, visiting and seeing new places, meeting new people, it's like it's unveiling new ideas, new things. It's so rich over here in color, texture, and why I named it Textures of Humanity, being all those intricacies of like eating, of, what we wear, how we worship, where we go, what we do, all those kind of things are part of the cultural texture,
And correct me if I'm wrong, but part of what I know is that, Textures of Humanity was a result of 10 years.
Yes, 10 years.
Of traveling across Africa.
Myself coming.
What made you take that first step? What first drew you to even begin this journey in the first place?
Well, I think it was interesting because when I was young, in high school, we had a foreign exchange student from South Africa, from Soweto. Right. And I think back at that was during apartheid. So I think it was interesting for me to learn about South Africa and Soweto at that time. And it always put an interest in me into wanting to come here. And I think as I started growing and traveling and working more across the States and Europe, I started understanding, even America and Western culture better through seeing history, seeing how people act out in everyday life in Europe and how that translated to America. And at a certain point, I was like, okay, if Africa is the birthplace of mankind, there must be some like interesting cultural things I can understand and pull from there. Yeah. So I started a journey of trying to do that and look and see what differences I found, what beauty I found, what things, sparks joy. Interest and joy. Yeah.
I want to come back to you, Tolu, and I've experienced you, from Cookie Jar to Eros to Los Angeles, and now you're back home. Getting closer to Desi December period. It's coming back.
It's coming back. Baby is back. It has been such a journey.
Yeah,
it has been such an incredible journey. And just kudos to my entire team for keeping me strong and being by my side, from my mother, down to even people like John who have been with me all the way from last season. We're counting it 16 years, for people that have dedicated their lives to this work, I remember when I look back and ask myself, Tolu, why are you cooking? And to answer the question is just because I love my culture. And I think that if I don't celebrate who we are, who's going to do that? And that's exactly what Eros, the restaurant, which is opening soon again in Lekki, is here to do. It's just to celebrate culture truly in the form that it has become today. I find that with food, it has to constantly evolve. You know, you find that with all the other cuisines around the world, Japanese cuisine wasn't what it is today, the way 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I'm so proud of not just myself, but all the other chefs and culinary artists who are putting so much work into, you know, developing this cuisine and evolving it and making it internationally recognized. We now have Michelin star restaurants abroad as well.
Let's
you
go.
know, you know, so you know, so I mean, I've been back now a couple of weeks. So I've been working on the new space in Lekki, Eros, and I also have the Billionaire Chef's Table, which is really a storytelling dining room about our culture through food, music, and storytelling.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful book, honestly. Where can one get this book right now?
We'll have them at Now House at the exhibition, where they can be picked up for now, and they're also available online. We can give online information. They can be reserved right now. So.
So I just saw a picture that I can't share on here, but just looking at this, you know, this exhibition explores. It explores. I mean, I know I need to take time to really, you know, digest it. But I'm seeing a lot of, you know, tradition, identity, you know, memory, everyday beauty. Which moment or subject really moved you the most while creating this incredible body of work? I know it's probably hard.
It's hard to say because there was so much, and it's like, you know, in putting this together as well, in designing it, I wanted to give you the feeling of all these different textures. Hence, there's images layered on top of images. It's kind of every time I felt that I went to a new place or visited with new people, I was literally like stimulated by color, by texture, by light, by everything. And I wanted to sort of hit you with all of that in this book.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, do something that is modern and gives relevance to like all the new creatives that are coming here and all the ways that they're translating culture for themselves and moving forward.
Yeah.
Like that was a big part, watching too as well and documenting with, you know, with Eros here, if, like what he's doing now, to then see in the future, okay, this is where we were, this is where we've gone. And people can derive inspiration from that, which I truly appreciate.
Yeah, and how would you say people are reacting to this book? Because I mean, as an African, I'm looking at it, I'm just like, whoa. But I wonder, like, looking...
books are missing already.
So what's the feedback been like?
It's been really good. I mean, again, you know, the book was made not to, you know, not to teach anything or not to like justify anything, but it was just as a visual representation of what I encountered. And people have seemed to really embrace it, which I truly enjoy.
Yeah.
And they take from it I think they take from it and it helps spark creativity, seeing things that are happening in other places, other cities, you know, what's just the continent is about, what baseline things do we have in common, as well as what things do we do differently that we celebrate. That we celebrate the way we do it, but, you know, and so I'm hoping with this book we're able to take it out and bring it to some of the other cities that I have visited and worked with in Africa to show the exhibition as well.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to have it here and the response has been amazing.
Yeah, and it's because it's quite authentic. And, you know, just talking about authenticity, I want to come back to you, Tolu. I mean, you've worked with different brands, you've built restaurants from scratch. I think something that really stood out for me was, I think it was earlier this year in Algeria, actually, at the Jollof Wars. Yes, we had the Jollof Wars between Senegal, Nigeria, and Ghana. And, you know, when I was tasting, I was like, I've not tasted Chef Eros's jollof rice here. And eventually you found out that you were actually making a separate one, which was the Unity Jollof, which was like a combination of the different things that we love about these different jollof rice from different regions. And that in itself is so ingenious because as opposed to leaning towards what divides us, you leaned into what unites us.
Correct.
How do you keep that authenticity going, because you're also trying to appeal to a global audience? Talk to me about that.
I mean, I think it's already in it. It's inside of me. I'm authentically myself. And you probably have seen that throughout my entire journey, is that I stay true to who I am. You know, my father would always say, to thyself first be true. But then my grandmother would go on top of that and say, if you don't do it with love, don't do it at all. And so for me, being authentically me is also showing love to myself and everyone around me. And that's even where the story of the Unity Jollof came from, was I wanted to share love as opposed to this divide. And our story, our ethos is that we're stronger together as one than we are separated. So when we created the Unity Jollof, we combined different parts of Africa into one, and just taste how delicious it is. You know, I'm just so proud of the fact that we can now finally come together, you know, and really appreciate who we are as one people.
And just to touch on that, because I think, you know, obviously you do this communal dining where it's kind of like a regular thing, but then you're also kind of like the go-to chef whenever there's like a major celebrity around. I know Ciara was around, David Oyelowo, I've seen you cook for Michael B. Jordan in Los Angeles. What's that like? Because you're no longer a chef, you're now a celebrity chef.
Well, I'm a culinary entertainer.
Okay, we'll take that.
I mean, what's it like?
You know he is.
What's it like? You know, I don't know that I feel like it's become like my day job now, and I'm always so you know, blessed and thankful for the opportunity, but I don't let those things distract me from what I'm really here to do, right? And that is really to preach the story of our culture. And I mean, I have so much fun doing these things, telling our stories of ourselves, sitting on the floor talking about Bankole from what's it called, from Ikorodu, you know, and just playing the music and just having fun with it. For me, it's really just a lot of fun and a lot of love.
Yeah. All right, then I want to wrap up with you. And I think for me, I keep finding myself going back to the book to peek. And that just shows that, I mean, how incredible this is. And, you know, this is 10 years of your life, basically.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I see some pictures here that remind me of my past, that remind me of my present, but more importantly, of what the future of Africa could look like. If you could, if the final images in the exhibition or the final images that made it to Textures of Humanity hint at Africa's future, what do you imagine that future looking like? Oh,
wow. I mean, I feel that's a future that's for all of you to make. And coming in as an outsider, these are just highlighting some of the things that you may consider every day that I find amazing or beautiful or different. You know, I point to the food shot of the takeaway food that's in the book, and it's just all stacked. And the thing about that's so surprising is that certain people will take certain things away from that. It's a simple thing that's very common here, but yet in a way, with the light, with the, you know, with the way it was to me, I saw it as this like magical little thing with these boxes with all these little, you know, wonderful things inside. And to be honest, part of what's truly touching is like when we did the dinner at our exhibition dinner, Tolu here he took one of the courses and he coursed it out in one of those takeaway containers.
And brought it in a bag.
Yeah, he tied it in a bag and brought it around and said it to everyone, and they're like, what is this? Are we leaving now? What's happening? But to do that kind of experience and then to help inspire someone in a certain way, which, you know, to do something that really shakes someone up and thinks out of the box, it's such a huge compliment, and I appreciate it. But I think as far I would hope that the future is incredibly bright and incredibly beautiful, noticing the resources and all the things and all the tradition and all the things that you carry and hold. But yeah, again, this is just my highlight, and I love every time coming and learning more and experiencing more. Every time it gets a little deeper and a little deeper, and it's so nice.
Yes, it is. And this has been such a nice interview. It's been lovely having you, Reed Davies, and of course, Chef Eros. I hope you are sticking around much longer because you have to experience 30 December in its full glory.
Yes.
Make sure you keep him around, okay?
I will. I have a food plug.
All right.